Not a single trans person has ever said to me, we wish you hadn't tried.
You may have been well-intentioned, but will your legacy be as a leader who's actually made the lives of trans people in the UK worse because of how you've handled this debate?
No, the people who are punching down on trans people are making the lives of trans people worse. I have actually asked myself this question a lot, and I think I talk about this in the book. Would it have been better not to try? And what I also say, and it remains true to this day, not a single trans person has ever said to me, we wish you hadn't tried. And I think that is important to me. So I regret how this debate has unfolded. I think there are definitely faults on both sides, as is the case in most debates, but this is not one-way traffic.
In the book you talk about having a visceral dislike of bullies, and yet some would say that you acted like a bully during that debate, and you also aligned yourself to a man, Alex Salmond, who bullied other people, perhaps even bullied you.
Well, again, there's, as I say in the book, I won't be the first woman who ends up being held responsible for the behaviour of a man.
Were you bullied by Alex Salmond?
I wouldn't describe it that way. If I'd wanted to describe it that way, I'd have described it that way in my book. And I wouldn't be the first woman, and I won't be the last woman to be held responsible for the behaviour of a man. Alex Salmond was responsible for his behaviour. I'm responsible for my behaviour, and I totally refute that characterisation of me.
You talked a lot in the book about the emotional toll of the pandemic on you, and you've expressed frustration in interviews about why people perhaps don't believe you when you get emotional about talking about the pandemic. Would they believe you more if you hadn't deleted the majority of your WhatsApp messages from that time?
I didn't conduct the pandemic response through WhatsApp, and I explained that to the COVID inquiry. I've explained it many times. In many respects, my frustration about this has been, being asked to effectively prove a negative. I was following government policy at the time in terms of retention of records. But look, the COVID inquiry is looking at that as it's looking at all aspects of the COVID response right now. It will report, I think, relatively soon on this module of its work.
Was there anything incriminating about Alex Salmond in those messages, and is that why we can't see them?
That is a complete, ludicrous notion as well.